Alright, guys, so we got day 2 of the injury report for this upcoming weekend. Starting off right away, we of course do have T. Higgins, who they listed as a limited participant in practice, but based on what I'm saying yesterday, he actually ran a full practice, no problem at all. He actually did every practice everybody else did. Not sure why he listed him as limited though. I know Wednesday he was limited. I'm not sure about Thursday. Nonetheless, though, as we already know, he's going to play if he can play. This is a situation where it's really just, again, Payne Tollins type of thing. He wants to be out there in a must-win game versus Seattle, and with how our offense really took off last week, I'm sure he even more wants to be out there, right? Because he is in a contract year at the end of the day, right? And with our offense now getting going, our quarterback situation getting figured out, everything's starting to click. T probably wants to be out there even more outside of just helping us win and, be a great player and teammate. He probably wants to go get some, stats up so the money goes up too. Because the better stats you have in the contract year, the better money you're going to get, whether or not we sign him or anybody else goes after him, which we'll have to wait and see what ends up happening. But yeah, so T should be playing this weekend. I'm still on the fence about it, and the only reason I say that is because, again, I would love to see him out there. We need him out there, but I don't want to lose him for the season, and I don't want to lose him for a long time, right? If he quote unquote can play, but he might get hurt or this might be risky, I wouldn't even risk him. I really wouldn't. I would keep him on the sideline, keep him inactive, go with Kwame, go with Yoshi, and kind of just go with what we had last week and play our best football in this game. But again, like I said, we'll have to see what happens Friday. If he's feeling really good Friday and he's getting, back into motions, everything's working out, it's very possible that he is ready to go for Sunday and we're fine. Devin Harper, I'm still surprised he is not cut. But the only reason he's not cut is because Akeem Davis-Gaither is still out. And I don't know how long he's going to be out for. I'll be honest with you. He was not in practice yesterday. He was not in practice Wednesday. He probably won't be in practice Friday. And he'll probably be out for another game, which is really disappointing, especially for rotation purposes, right? Having players in the back end there really helps out when, your players aren't injured. But it is what it is. It's part of football, and we just kind of do next man up mentality. So, the next player I want to talk about is Cheeto, who was back at practice yesterday, but in limited participant in practice. Now, Cheeto obviously did not play last week with his back injury, and starting off this week, he was not in practice Wednesday because of his back injury. And it's going to be a little bit of a process, right? We had obviously the horrible injury on Halloween last year. He had to go through the whole entire recovery process. He doesn't get back into, training camp until August time period, which, he actually did start training camp, which was really surprising to a lot of people. There were people saying that they thought Cheeto wasn't going to be back to week 2 or week 3, and he came back in training camp. And it looked like everything was signs good to go and everything no problem at all. And then he has this back injury. And again, like I said, obviously I don't think those two things are correlated, but he's older. He is. And at the end of the day, I know we love Cheeto, but we have to remember his age is definitely a thing. And when you get closer and closer to the age of 30, you start breaking down more and more, especially at the cornerback position. I think running back and cornerback is the real, killers when you hit age 30. That's when you really just drop off the cliff. Wide receiver is to a certain degree. I know Calvin Johnson, for example, he retired at age 30, but some receivers are still, productive after 30. It's not really the greatest age to be once you are a wide receiver, but tight ends, you could be a tight end over 30 and be fine. Offensive linemen, as I always say, they age like fine wine, the older the better. But when it comes to corner, that's when you start to slow up a little bit, right? And we also have Cheeto in a contract year too. So we're going to have to wait and see on that one. But with all these injuries piling up, and obviously him coming off the injury last year, now his back injury, it might not be a good it might not be, I don't say not a good thing. It might not be, a good direction we're going into, I'll say. But I hope he is healthy. I hope he gets back as soon as possible. And with him, especially because I know how, based on what Lou said, they're not rushing him back. And first off, from obviously the injury with, last Halloween, but even with this back injury, they're not rushing him back at all. They're trying to play very slow with this injury, which is ironic because it seems like, Joe Burrow injury, they were like, all right, go out there, play football. But with Cheeto, they're like, oh, pump the brakes. Let's just take our time with this injury. And it might also, again, like I said before, be age. Age, severity of the injury, etc. Right? There's always different factors, and you can never compare players to players because obviously there's so many different factors. But again, like I said, I hope he does end up, coming back eventually. If he doesn't play this week, it is what it is. Then we'll have our bye week, and hopefully we'll be ready for the 49ers game. Myles Murphy, yeah, this is a player that's really interestingly on this list right now. He did not practice on Wednesday, and he also did not practice on Thursday. Now, based on what it says here, it's a personal issue. And, me being the drama club expert, I went on Twitter and I went on social media and I tried to figure out what was the personal issue, because listen, at the end of the day, it's his personal issue, but we like to know what personal issues are, right? And I could not find anything. So, whatever this is, it's being very tight-lipped with the team. This is not really something that's getting out there. So, whatever it is, I hope he is okay. Obviously, it's non-football related injury. This is just, non-football related issue. This is just simply, something going on, maybe in a personal life. I'm going to guess in his personal life outside of football. And I hope everything gets figured out as soon as possible. Now, again, it sucks to say this, but it's like, because he doesn't get that many snaps anyway on our defense, if he doesn't play, hypothetically speaking, if this is a personal matter that is really, detrimental to him, something happened, tragedy, if he does have to miss next game, I'm not really going to get too upset about it. And again, it might be, and a lot of it is because, he doesn't get that many snaps anyway. So it's not like he is a detrimental part of our defense. But if he has to, it is what it is, I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, we're not going to have Myles Murphy. If he can't play, he can't play. He actually, if you remember, he actually did miss, the Falcons game, I think? Yeah, Falcons preseason game. And that was a bad game to miss for him, but I know he had to miss that game. But it was a bad game to miss for him because his dad was actually at that game. Yeah, his dad came to watch him, and he missed that game. Which, again, it wasn't on him, but, it is what it is. Alright, so for their side, they don't really have any of their updated stuff, so, L on the Bengals side here. But hopefully, if everything works out correctly, DK Metcalf, if you want to just miss one game and be fully healthy the rest of your season, I am okay with that. Players I would like for them not to have, Charles Cross, their starting left tackle. If you want to just have him out, it would be okay. Everyone else, though, it is what it is. Guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. Who they think will beat them Bengals? Nobody. Let's go, boys.